John Lauro, I'll start with you. You know, these leaks go back. If you'll remember the plumbers unit under Nixon, I mean, there is a huge history of leaking, of course, affected Barack Obama, too. Today, Sessions talking about making plugging the leaks a priority, but what can he really do?
Well, this is a deep state problem. There are people in the bureaucracy who want to take down Donald Trump, and that's their goal. Now, Barack Obama and the Obama administration was very aggressive in using the Espionage Act to prosecute leakers. That hasn't been done so far under the Trump administration. So it's good to see that Attorney General Sessions is taking a very principled stand and saying, we're going to go after you and we're going to prosecute you. It's kind of like a parent right now saying, this is it. I really mean it. This is the last time. Let's see if he follows through on it.
Jillian, Sessions saying that as many criminal referrals on this topic as the previous 3 years combined, the problem is getting worse, worse, worse. Why is that?
Well, I think it's definitely accelerating because this is such a chaotic presidency, and you're dealing with a bureaucracy that is in direct opposition to it. I mean, we're seeing one leak a day in some cases.
Yeah, on and on it goes.
It's a staggering amount.
And it's important stuff. John, what do you? I mean, we're told national security is at stake here. People are really concerned. Is it a threat to our national security, and how so? How does this hurt the security of the nation?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I do think it's a threat to national security. I mean, one basic thing is if the president and others in the White House or in the intelligence community can't create or share information without fear that it's going to be leaked to the public, that's a real problem. And certainly if you get into anything where there's a leak of information that could reveal sources or methods that the intelligence community is using, that could put lives at risk.
Leon Panetta, former chief of staff, talking about this to our very own Maria Bartiromo, had this to say on the topic. Listen.
I don't think these leaks are helpful in any way. I think they're dangerous, particularly when it involves classified information. And you can refer to the FBI, and you can refer to the Justice Department, and obviously where it involves classified information, it ought to be investigated. But the key to preventing leaks is to create a sense of teamwork within the White House, within the staff, so that they feel loyalty to the President of the United States. They've got to feel loyalty. They've got to feel like they're part of a team. These leaks happen because people are disgruntled. They don't feel like their voice is being heard. They're related to a particular faction in the White House that is opposed to another faction. So they're basically trying to undermine one of another.
All right, that was a mouthful. But so, John Lauro, you heard Panetta there, very well regarded. But I have to tell you, at the end of the day, teamwork? Like, is that, I mean, like everybody raw, you know, like a little football team?
It sounded mealy-mouthed to me. The bottom line is it's a crime. If you're releasing classified information, you're violating the Espionage Act. I don't care why you're doing it. You know, there may be factions. You may be doing it to embarrass the president. You may be doing it because you wanted Hillary Clinton to win. That doesn't matter. The fact remains that it's a violation of federal law, and you're putting people at risk in the United States in very sensitive positions.
Jillian, I'm looking at the history of this. I'm looking down at my notes here. Reagan, Clinton, George W. Bush. Remember warrantless wiretapping? Barack Obama. Famous examples of leaking. This seems to be a problem that's completely out of control and one of those things that nobody pays any attention to.
Well, I think within the Trump administration, we're certainly seeing it being a bigger problem than it's been before. And getting back to the teamwork thing, I agree with you that that's not a justification in any way. But that is one thing to address to try to deter it. If you feel like you're part of a team and have that loyalty.
All those empty positions, that might help.
That would
absolutely part of the problem is that the Democrats haven't been willing to do step number one in confirming the kinds of appointments that Trump wants to make.
And this is such a bipartisan issue. I mean, I was encouraged to see Senator Mark Warren saying that we need to investigate these leaks. This is something that fundamentally messes with our ability to conduct foreign policy, to enjoy national security. And so I think this is definitely a bipartisan issue, and I'm happy to see it being treated as such.
But it feels like it's all falling on Trump's shoulders, and the injury is being done to his administration. Let's move on, though. I want to talk about President Trump is on a 17-day vacation heading out to New Jersey earlier today. We had a lot of video of that. This after firing up his base, railing against the Russia investigation, which is now reportedly moving to the grand jury phase. Trump blasting that move, retweeting earlier today, "We won, move on." He also had some strong words at his rally last night. Listen.
The Russia story is a total fabrication. It's just an excuse for the greatest loss in the history of American politics. We didn't win because of Russia. We won because of you.
I want to bring back my panel here, John Wood, John Lauro, and Jillian Melchior. It's a J day, I guess. John Wood, John Lauro, and Jillian Melchior. John Wood, to you, does the president have it right? Is this just politics writ large, nothing more than that?
Well, I don't know whether, in fact, there was collusion with the Russian government. It's too soon to know that. But in light of some of the evidence that's come out so far, and particularly Don Jr.'s emails about that meeting with the Russian lawyer, there's enough there that it has to be at least investigated. So somebody has to look into it. Bob Mueller is doing so. Some congressional committees are doing so. And until all the information comes out, it's too soon to say whether or not this whole thing is a big hoax or whether there is actually some substance to this.
Well, and it raises a question, John Lauro. What kind of defense does the president have?
He needs a defense. Right now, he doesn't have one. He needs to have 15 or 20 skilled white-collar defense lawyers just to counteract what's in the Mueller group right now, which is a very aggressive group of lawyers who are skilled in the dark art of federal prosecution, where they basically can take any situation and turn it into a crime. He's got to circle the wagons, have joint defense agreements among the people involved in the investigation, and then finally he has to attack legally. Every single premise of that special prosecutor should be under attack by the administration right now.
Jillian, USA Today tonight is making a very big deal of the fact that there's actually 2 grand juries. There's the one investigating Michael Flynn and this one, and apparently we're going to use both of those. So there's going to actually be 2 grand juries charging against the administration, trying to find something. Here's what I don't understand about this process, and I'll pose it to you, but I'll pose it to other people on the panel. It seems like they have this wide berth to look at absolutely anything they want to. Who decides what they get to investigate?
Well, I think he does. I do think that he's got Mueller. I think he's got a pretty open ticket to look into whatever he wants. Look, I think the Russia interfering in our election is a huge concern and something that needs to be thoroughly looked into for the sake of our democracy. I think another thing that we need to be paying attention to is Democrats' role with Russia. Fusion GPS, some of the stuff that went on with that. And if I were the Trump administration, I mean, with a mentor like Cohen, I think attack has been Donald Trump's MO from the get-go. But I would also say radical transparency is a really good precedent. You saw Jared Kushner coming out, printing out those emails, letting people see them on Twitter, and that took the air out of a lot of that.